Welcome back to part 2 of our little trip to Puerto Galera and our mini travel guide. Day 4 of our trip, third full day here, and oh my goodness, it's been a late start. But today is our silver wedding anniversary, so we're allowed. The plan, I think, is to head off to White Beach and see what that's all about. As before, we'll take you along for the ride. Right, we're off, and this might be a huge mistake. We're going in one of these. Am I going to fit? We'll find out. Well, that was it. That was the whole ride. We're at White Beach. My beautiful Sal is just negotiating the return trip. We'll see this fella in a little while. Well, this is White Beach, and you can probably make out why. It is as close as I think you're ever going to get to white sand. Somebody's been busy this morning with sandcastles. This has a totally different vibe to it. The beach is fairly large, and it's all restaurants and souvenirs and hotels and music and vendors of all sorts of things, and some kind of water park over there. I'll go and check that out shortly. This is right on the beach, and there are people. Still not too many signs of foreigners here, although I did see a few on the way in. And we're just stretched down here with all these shacks selling stuff, beach stuff predominantly. Lots of shops selling this kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't think the shorts would work on me. That wouldn't work on me either. Oh, here we go. I like this, I like this, I like this, I like this. This could be a disaster. Jet skis, as far as the eye can see. Lots and lots of jet skis. And this is the third tattoo parlour that we've passed in about 200 metres. Must be a popular pastime here. You want to get a butterfly and orchid tattoo?
Yes.
I don't think you're serious.
Try me.
Oh dear. Really don't think that would be great, but your body. She won't do it. Right behind all these little stalls, you've got hotels. This one looks fairly sizable, and there's a few of these. We're going to stop here and have a cool drink and maybe a small bite to eat. Not crowded. There are Westerners here. Not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Well, all the usual beach activities: parasailing, jet skis, banana boats, hoverboards, flying boards, and you can maybe make out the pricing. So parasailing here, 15 minutes, 2,500 pesos. Jet ski, 30 minutes, 3,000 pesos. And most of these rides look like they're between 2,000 and 4,000, but anywhere between 15 and 60 minutes. Lots to choose from. Interesting that they've got all the prices and descriptions are also all in Chinese. They must get a lot of Chinese tourists when there are tourists. This is the drink that is kind of the iconic drink here, I believe. The Mindoro Sling. I got no idea what's in it. And you can either buy a pitcher for 1,100 pesos or a glass for 250. So this seemed like a more ridiculous but far better value option. I'll try and find out later what it contains. So while we were sitting in the other place, kind of looking at how many people were tourists. And it's really not busy. A couple of the guys that were trying to sell bracelets and other things, same business is still very, very slow. I think a very rough and ready estimate, there's 2 or 3% foreigners here at White Beach today. A couple of Chinese guys, and then a few Westerners, but it's very limited. So the Philippines has not yet got people to come back. Nobody's wearing masks. We're not at alert level 0 yet, and even if we were, then we're still supposed to wear a mask, I believe. But no one's wearing a mask here. It's open. It's just not getting the people in. Look at this though. If you can come, I'd say come pretty soon. The prices probably have been inflated, but it's not outrageous. Come here sooner rather than later, before the tourist hordes come and see it. It's a beautiful place. This is definitely more of the party environment than anywhere else we've been. But at the moment, we don't know what it's like in the evening, but right now it's still pretty quiet. And you've got white sandy beaches, all of the boat ride type of things that you would expect and hope for. And of course, you've got scuba diving. It's a beautiful place. Come to Puerto Galera. 300 pesos each way. Roughly a 30-minute ride, maybe a bit less. Not the most comfortable ride you're ever going to have, but not the least comfortable either. We're back. 21 minutes. Not terrible. Day 5. Not such a late start today, but not ridiculously early either. Not sure of the plan yet. I'll let you know. We got up pretty early, but then we were slow. But we're finally off. You'll see where we're going shortly. Well, that was a 30-minute ride on the motorbike. And we're actually fairly close to the beach we went on day one, our first full day at least, at Talapan Beach. This time though, we're not going towards the beach just yet. We're going a little bit inland. But we have to sign in first. Rumour has it, we have to get a guide. We'll find out. Apparently, it's advisable to stock up with a little bit of water, something here, maybe a snack, because when we get to where we're going, there's nothing else there. So buy some water before you go. While you're walking up, there is some suggestion that you might want to have, fairly sturdy shoes for this. It can be a little tiny bit slippery. There's not much water on the rocks now. Flip-flops, probably okay, but maybe something with a little bit more grip is advisable. This is what we've come for. Talapan Falls. It's not a big waterfall, but it's lovely. A word of warning, the walk up is a challenge. It was 30 minutes, but it was 30 minutes with a couple of breaks. It's almost all walking over rocks. Can be at times pretty challenging, quite steep areas. I had to ask to hold Eric's hand once or twice to get me over particular bits, and I did slip once, but nothing bad. So yeah, you need to be prepared for a bit of a hike. If you're young and fit and adventurous, no problem at all. You'll be zipping up here in 20 minutes. For me, yeah, let's slow this down. But when you get up here, you've got this. And my beautiful Asawa is testing out the water, which I will do in just a moment. Is it cold? There you go, it's cold. But to be honest, I sweat so much coming up here. Being cold for a second won't be a problem. Yeah, it is challenging coming up, but 100% worth it if you can make it. There is another very mini pool just below this, and the last bit was one of the most challenging bits of the walk. But try and get your way up here. Once you've been in the water a few seconds, it feels fabulous. Is it worth the walk? Absolutely, 100%. Yes, it is. Somebody once said it's better to travel than to arrive. Garbage. The walk up is hard work. Up here, where it's just us and the sound of the waterfall and nobody else, and just beautiful. The arrival, way better. This is our guide, Eric, who said pre-COVID he was getting basically one trip a day. Since COVID, since lockdown, since they've just started reopening, lucky if he gets one a week. I think I have read that you don't have to have a guide, but for goodness sake, yes you do. It's it is a challenging walk up, and help them out, help out the local economy. It's not a lot of money. We've just paid, I think it was 200 pesos each, and I'm sure we're going to throw in a little bit of a tip as well. So get a guide. And yeah, you need to be prepared for a walk, but if you can make the walk, it's 100% worth it. And the biggest beauty on the island. We were only 10 minutes away at Talapan Falls, so we've come back to Talapan Beach. You've seen all this already, we're not going to repeat it. What I will say is that when we came the other day, the food I thought was a little ordinary. I had calamari that I don't think was cooked properly, but today we just had a fish, tuna in red sauce, spaghetti, seafood, and they were excellent. Well, we're back again in the mangrove restaurant at the Edgewater Hotel. We have eaten here every night so far. It wasn't really our intention to do that tonight. However, last night for our silver anniversary dinner, they had done a couple of things for us. They'd arranged a special menu and a few other bits and pieces. And I have to say, the owner, Richard, threw in a very nice bottle of champagne. But one of the things they were trying to organise was some oysters. They didn't arrive in time. They did, however, arrive apparently at 2 a.m. So we're back here for the oysters. Not necessarily entirely my favourite, but my beautiful Asawa's favourite appetiser. So we're going to eat here once again. And we could do a lot worse. Number one, the food is very, very good. Number two, keep your dizzy paws close. Here we go. Just look at it.
One more time. Cheers.
Oh, my director,
Oh, it's beautiful.
back over here, wants to say hello.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for lovely greetings for our 25th wedding anniversary. Thank you, guys. Cheers.
There you go. I think that must be a reference to Facebook and other social media, because obviously this hasn't gone out yet. But yes, thanks to everybody. Final day for us, and we've come to Sabang Beach, which is just around the headland from our hotel. We were warned a little bit about this from a couple of points of view, and one of them is what they're pointing to here: sewage. Apparently a lot of the sewage at the moment goes directly into the sea, so the advice was don't swim in the sea. But we've not come to swim in the sea, we'll have a look around. There is a lot of construction going on here for a boardwalk and the sewage treatment. So the whole place, really, it's a building site right now. But we're here to grab a bite to eat and see what else is going on. This area is apparently dive central. Dive central from the point of view of going diving. Lots of dive shops here. Dive central from the point of view that it's the kind of red light area as well. So, yeah, it's kind of why we've stayed away so far, but we had to come and take a look. On a recommendation from some friends, we've come here to El Galeon, which has the benefit of being slightly tucked back, and so all the construction that's going on is not visible from here. And we are very close actually to our hotel, just beyond this headland with that rather large hotel with, I guess, the red sun. But this is actually not bad. I think it's a little bit more pricey than other areas we've been to. But it looks all right. We'll see what the food is like. Well, that was El Galeon for lunch. Slightly more pricey than other areas we've been to, but still for a laksa and a plate of mussels, which was really being sold as an appetizer, but it was quite substantial. A couple of mango juices, Diet Coke, $25 US. Food was good. I'd say, yeah, absolutely nothing against this place, and it was a nice sea breeze blowing in from here. It is away from that area that's being developed. Tick. This restaurant gets pretty good reviews, but the problem is they're digging up to build the boardwalk immediately outside, so it does smell a little bit. So I think we were thinking about coming back for dinner here tonight, but I think we're going to pass. That's a shame. When it's finished, it might be quite nice. Right now, it's definitely got a bit of an aroma, which is not particularly pleasing. All along the front, basically, is dive shops, bars. Nothing wrong with it at all, but it just needs to be finished.
Could I go?
We're heading out. We didn't make it out of the resort last night. We were thinking about it and thinking about it. And in the end, some rain clouds looked like they were coming over. It didn't rain, but it looked like it, and we didn't want to get caught out. So we stayed here, and we ate back in the restaurant, as we have every single night. So as a tour of the culinary establishments for evening meals, this is no use. Right, so final thoughts coming up, but I'm going to wait until we get home so I can not have my rose-tinted spectacles on. But for you, that'll be about now. We're home. I wanted to leave it a few days so that I wasn't entirely basking in the glow of the little break we just had. Otherwise, I'd have been even more gushing than I'm probably about to be. Just give me a couple of seconds for a bit of self-promotion here. Over behind me, you can see the house that we're building. And that was the start of this channel. It's been basically all about building this house. We're doing a daily update on that. So, if you made it this far in this video, really appreciate it. Thank you. Maybe go and check out some of the house building episodes. Okay, Puerto Galera. The elephant in the room. Diving. Puerto Galera is supposed to be one of the top dive spots in Asia, maybe even in the world, and we didn't do it. So I said in the title it was things to do when you're not diving, but I would strongly urge you, if you've ever dived before or want to give it a try, it's absolutely a huge reason to add Puerto Galera to your list. As a place, we massively enjoyed it. It was peaceful, uncrowded, relatively inexpensive. I've not done a full analysis of it, but I think we probably spent, including everything except petrol to drive down there, probably around 130,000 pesos. And I'll put the US equivalent up. We could have done it quite a bit cheaper, but because it was our silver wedding anniversary trip, we did stump up a little bit extra and we got kind of the premium room at the Edgewater Resort. We did pay for the water taxi both ways, and that was a chunk of money. I completely misunderstood the ferry situation. You absolutely can get ferries throughout the day dramatically cheaper. I misunderstood the timing, but also there was the issue with my wife not being good in a boat, and the water taxi was the fastest way. But there are ferries, I think, if you time it right, there are ferries that can do it in under an hour. Some of them take quite a lot longer, there's slow ferries. And if you really wanted to, you could take a vehicle across on one of those ferries. I don't really see the need, but you might want to consider that. But it is a beautiful area. I can't really recommend it highly enough. The Edgewater Resort, I have no affiliation. I get nothing out of them for any of this. But it's kind of selling itself a little bit as a 4-star experience. In many ways, for us, it was a 5-star experience. The service was outstanding. People were highly responsive. From the moment you get in touch and inquire about bookings, they were extremely responsive, extremely helpful. And by the way, by all means, go onto some of the booking websites and have a look at pricing. But in the end, do get in touch directly with the hotel. There is quite a hefty fee from those booking websites that is charged to the hotel, so it really eats into their profit margins. Big hotels just kind of write it off a lot of the time and it doesn't make any difference, but anything like a smaller resort like where we were, very likely to give you a better deal. They can still come out ahead of the game and give you a better price if you book directly with them than you would get through any of the booking websites. Whatever those websites might say about price matching, I don't think that includes booking direct. So, but anywhere you go, doesn't have to be Puerto Galera, anywhere in the world, if you're booking a hotel or booking other things, always try, give them a call, send them an email. They're likely to be quite keen to give you a slightly better deal if they've got availability. But it was a beautiful place. It's not a 5-star hotel, but as I said, in many respects it felt like it. The food, very, very good. The service, very good. The room was kept clean, and everything about the place just felt really nice. It is close to Sabang Beach if you want to go there. It's not for us, and certainly until they finish the boardwalk and the sewage plants, I can't really recommend it. But it is the liveliest area on the island by all accounts, certainly in the evening. So if you want to go and party the night away, Sabang Beach might be the place for you. I said in the first video that White Beach was kind of the party area. Well, at that point in the trip, it was the closest we'd seen, but by comparison, White Beach is very much more of a family location. And the little private beach is just wonderful. There is so much more that we didn't do in Puerto Galera. A longer time, and there's a lot more to see, there's a lot more to do. We barely scratched the surface. If you're going to try and go, as I said in the first video, go as soon as you can. Go before the crowds really come back. The hotels think it's going to be quite a long time before they're back to any kind of normal, and that's even assuming that the COVID situation doesn't reverse again and start introducing more lockdowns. Give it a shot. Puerto Galera.